this is Dave Thomas from Utah reading chapter 1 of The Count of Monte Cristo. And then it's like, then you get Anastasia from, Russia.
Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, Walter, how did you optimize your sleep, or do you even optimize your sleep? And has that helped you in trading?
I did, and then I had kids. No, so yeah, actually, I'm thinking a lot about it. So these are the things I'll do. I'll give you guys quick. So yeah, so what I used to do before kids is I had a really good schedule where I would just wake up naturally, check the charts, because the New York candles close between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. over here in Sydney, depending on the time of year. So here in winter, the New York candles close at 7 a.m. and then in summer it's like 9 a.m. right? And then there's like a month where it's actually 8 a.m. when there's between time changes in the States and in Australia. But anyway, so what I used to do is just wake up, I would check the charts, make sure everything's good, like there isn't anything that needs to be managed, like move to break even or whatever, and then I would go for a run and then come home, eat, and then maybe go for a surf in the afternoon or something like that, right? And then at night is when I would put my orders in, because around 6 o'clock or so is when, 5 to 6, 7, that's when the markets open over in London. And that's where I wanted my orders to get triggered, like London or New York. Well, and so, and then I would just go to sleep, and the next morning again, check, make sure, did I get stopped out? Did I not get stopped out? Should I move to break even, whatever. So it's pretty simple. And it's pretty good. Not having an alarm clock is awesome, right? Not having to get up at a certain time. Well, so then you have kids and they're up in the middle of the night, blah, 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 and all that stuff happens. So now what I've learned to do is supplements and watch the diet. So the couple of things. What I like to do is I don't eat late at night. So after about 7, 8 o'clock is when I stop eating for sure. Like I don't want to be eating at 10 o'clock or whatever, right? The other thing I do is I take magnesium. It's actually magnesium and calcium and vitamin D mix, but I mix it up and it's like in a liquid thing, and you drink, it's powder. It makes like liquid and drink it. What I found is that having the magnesium before you go to sleep, about 30 minutes or so before you go to sleep, is amazing. It makes it so much easier to sleep. The other thing that's really good, especially for traders, is you can get these blue light filters like on your phone, like these apps and stuff. I don't know if it works for Apple. I heard that it might not work for iPhone. I'm not sure, but what these things do. And they have the downloads too. And actually we'll put some links in the show notes for people who are interested. So what that does is it cuts down the blue light. So the reality is I went and saw a talk the other day, psychologist, and she was talking about how if you have blue light within an hour of the time that you go to sleep, which for most traders is going to be the case, actually. I mean, let's face it, you're probably going to check the charts right before you go to bed, right? Yeah. Especially at where I am, because it's New York or in London, like the markets are raging, right? So she said the blue light from the screen, if you do that within an hour of going to bed, it actually impacts your REM sleep. The REM sleep is the deep sleep. It's the most important sleep of the night, right? It's what you get less and less of as you get older. When you're a baby, you almost go straight into REM sleep, which is the deep regenerative sleep. Your brain, it's good for everything, right? It's good for your body, your brain's connections, everything. So what she said was, if you have blue light within an hour of going to bed, that will drastically reduce your REM sleep. So I was like, well, how do I get around this? Well, blue light filter. So you can use these blue light filters that change your laptop or your monitor screen, definitely for your phone and that sort of thing, so that you're not getting that blue light right before you go to sleep. The other thing you can do is, if you get good at guided imagery, you can listen to some guided imagery stuff about, relaxing your whole body, or it's kind of like self-hypnosis. It's very similar. If you listen to those for a while, then you get really good at kind of relaxing your body. So when you're lying in bed and you can't go to sleep, just getting good at relaxing, from the toes up to the head, slowly, kind of each part of your body, you're putting it, to sleep, right? So that's another thing. So those are things I would say. You can look at supplements, obviously you don't want to have caffeine, right? Like I'm off the caffeine, and definitely not before, like if you're going to go to bed, let's say you go to bed at 11 p.m., you don't want to have caffeine, you know, at 6. Like if you can not have it between 6 and 11, that's ideal, right? Within 5 hours. So if you go to bed at 9, you don't want to have it, you know, at 4 or whatever. Like it's really, that's a killer too, right?
Hey there, I hope you're finding this episode useful. I just wanted to let you know that Walter and I give away something valuable every month that helps traders improve their skills. You can enter to win by simply leaving an iTunes review and leaving a comment on our YouTube videos. At the end of each month, we'll look at the comments and reviews from the month, and we'll pick a winner at random. Each comment and each review counts for 1 entry during the month that it's submitted. So if you're interested in that, be sure to enter after this podcast is over. All right, back to the episode.
And vigorous exercise is good, but you don't necessarily want to do it right before bed either, right?
Yeah.
So like vigorous exercise is really good in the morning or in the afternoons, but not so much, you know, around the evening time. So those are the biggies that I've learned over time. What about you? What have you got going on?
Probably 3 or 4 things. Like I found, I used to have an Oura ring, so it measures your heart rate and all that stuff while you're sleeping. So I tried that out for a while, and it basically said I need about 10 hours of sleep to really get a good night's sleep. So
can you tell me a bit more about, is that like connected to an app or something? Is that how that works?
Yeah. It's Bluetooth. It connects to your phone, and then it gives you like a sleep score at the end of the night. So.
I thought it was like a mood ring. When you said Oura ring, I was thinking it was something you picked up from a hippie, but no, this is like technology, right? This is like a technology. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually pretty well built.
I believe it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's 10 hours. So I kind of use that as my gauge. Like if I get 10 hours, I know I had a good night's sleep and I feel good. If I can't get 10 hours, then I know I kind of have to push through it. Another thing is, like you mentioned, the blue light stuff. I wear these blue light blocking glasses.
Yeah.
So these help
gaming goggles. Yeah. You can get gaming glasses. Yeah. Those are good too.
Yeah, definitely. And then we tried recently this thing called Ned. It's like marijuana droplets. It's got marijuana and CBD in it. And then that helps me sleep if I can't sleep.
Right.
And then basically just earplugs and an eye mask has been huge for me. That's probably the biggest thing. And I just sleep all night when I do that.
Yeah, really interesting.
So that's about it.
Yeah. You could also, I just thought something, you could also use like a routine where you listen to subliminals. And so the sound of the ocean on the subliminals, like the Intertalk subliminals, I'll link those up too in the show notes. That works. Like routines are really good with kids. Like they do a certain routine so they know, okay, now it's time for me to go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that too. What was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, the other day, your Oura ring reminded me of this. The other day, probably because they know I'm a sucker for this, I saw some ads because I love these sorts of things, kind of like the Oura ring stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I saw some ads where they said, it's like a breathing analysis. You blow into a thing, okay?
Yeah.
And then it tells you like, what your last, have you heard of it? Like you've seen it, right? It tells you like so you blow, like, it's like a breathalyzer, I think, similar to like what the cops have, but you blow into it and it'll tell you your last meal had too many carbs and this and that. And here's where your body metabolism, that like basically gives you all this printout of information about your body based on just breathing into the thing. And I thought, whoa, that is insane. So, cause that's the kind of, I mean, it kind of reminded me of the Oura ring, like kind of give you some feedback on where you're at and what you should be doing. I don't know if it tells you if you're sleep deprived or anything like that, or if, you know, like you need more sleep or this or that, but it was really fascinating. It sounded like it was more kind of like along the lines of diet. So, you know, like it kind of is kind of gauging, you know, where you're at now versus what you ate recently. It's telling you, you know, yeah, you probably shouldn't have ate, you know, that many calories, or you probably had too many carbs, or you probably, you know, needed more fat, or, you know, something like that. Like it sounded like that's kind of was the thing, but there might've been other stuff involved as well. I hope I see another ad for it because I want to check it out. I didn't really have time to check it out at the time, but I wanted to learn more about it. Yeah.
That sounds cool. That's super cool. I see.
Yeah. I was
got to try it out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, I've never like, you know, like all these things like that you and I are both kind of into, like Muse and the Oura ring and the what's the thing with the two Neurophone and, all those things, you know, subliminals and stuff. Yeah, so I just thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted to mention that to you because I know, you know, you're like me, you know, you kind of like things like that.
Cool. Yeah,
it sounds really cool.
I'll check it out.
I'll look into it. Yeah. I'll see if
Oh,
I
and
can find anything.
and one last thing on the when you're talking about music before going to sleep, I found that listening to audiobooks is probably one of the best ways to fall asleep. But then I always lose my place on the book, so it doesn't really work too well. Puts you to sleep.
Yeah, it's so true. It is true too.
Yeah.
Especially if they're monotonous. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of, just as an aside, have you ever heard of LibriVox? So there's
No.
this free, I'll put a link down there, but LibriVox basically is free Audible, like Audible, the Amazon one. It's like Audible, but you go there and you download these MP3s of books. And they're like a lot of classics and stuff. So like one time we were on this massive road trip. We listened to The Count of Monte Cristo, right? This long book. But here's the problem with LibriVox. Problem is you can volunteer. Anyone can volunteer to read a chapter of a book. So what ends up happening is you're listening to The Count of Monte Cristo, right? And what ends up happening is you get like chapter 1 will have Dave from Utah reading the book, right? And sometimes they'll even say like, this is Dave Thomas from Utah reading chapter 1 of The Count of Monte Cristo. And then it's like, then you get Anastasia from, Russia reading the next one. And like, it's kind of like a disconnect, you know what I mean? Like each chapter is and sometimes we were listening to it like on our road trip, my wife and I were like, and then it would be like, oh no, not Tim again. He's awful. You know what I mean? Like, cause sometimes people are really good. Like they give characters and stuff. There'll be like a little bit of like, they'll kind of use a different voice or something for different characters. And then sometimes people are just like so monotonous. They just read the book like he busted down the door. And then you're just like, but it's really good for putting yourself to sleep. So tip, if you like listening to books that you don't care about losing your place, you could download some really boring LibriVox chapters.
That sounds great.
That could work. Yeah, that could work. Just need to find a nice boring one.
I'm just picturing the Russian accent versus the Southern drawl, and then like all in the same book.
yeah, it's terrible, man. It's so bad. It's like literally, it's like Russian roulette when you're listening to it, because it's like every chapter you don't know what you're gonna get. You're like, oh, chapter 13 is Dave again. No, it's just crazy, and you just keep wishing that. If you have a good reader on a chapter, you keep wishing, please do the next one. Please do the next chapter. It is kind of funny. Yeah. But that's LibriVox. Yeah,
Awesome.
LibriVox. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Walter.
See ya.
Yeah.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.